Hi, this is Michael Peña with Teens Want to Know. Today we're at the 2013 LA Times Festival of Books at the USC campus. Let's see who we can talk to. The LA Times Festival of Books is the largest book festival in the country and is truly a reader's paradise. A large number of authors and celebrities show up each year at the University of Southern California to help celebrate the art of storytelling and literary culture. In addition to enjoying books, families come out in droves to enjoy live musical entertainment, play games, meet their favorite characters, and get autographs by celebrities and writers. If you thought books were going out of style, then just check out this long line just to meet a single author. The event showed that even though teens might seem to be constantly playing video games or texting mindlessly, that reading is still a very important part of their lives. Now, let's hear what some of the authors and celebrities we spoke to had to say. We're here with Cassandra Clare today.
Hi.
What was it like meeting all these fans?
I was telling my husband this morning that I was afraid nobody was going to show up, so I'm really glad that didn't happen.
Really nice.
Yeah. No, it was great. I was really happy because LA is my hometown. This is where I'm from. So it was great to see all these people from my hometown come out to see me.
Yeah. Now, what have you got coming up next?
The next thing that I have coming up is the last book of the Mortal Instruments, which is called City of Heavenly Fire, and it comes out next March. So I hope you guys will all check it out.
Hi, we're here with Vanessa and Katie from Switch to Birth. How are you guys doing?
Super excellent.
Awesome. Now, what were you guys doing just now?
We were reading Chester's Way in English and American Sign Language.
It was really fun. I signed, Vanessa read. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Hi, we're here with Gennifer Albin, writer of Crewel and Alpert. So, what inspired you to write Crewel?
Actually, there's a painting by a Spanish surrealist painter, and in the painting there are girls sitting in a tower, and there are these kind of ethereal, otherworldly threads coming up, and they're sewing, and then the fabric that they're sewing is going out the windows of the tower and basically creating the world. And I was always really fascinated with this. So one day I sat down and I wrote a prologue about a girl who was sitting in the tower weaving the world who didn't want to be there. And that's how it started.
Cool. So, what differences can we expect in Adelise and Alpert compared to Crewel?
I think Adelise is going to be a little more active, like she's a little more aware of her power, ready to be in control of her power, and she really, really wants to discover who she is and what the real story behind her life is, because she finds out very early on that there's been a lot of things that she's been lied to about in terms of her family and what actually was going on between Eris and the real world and all of that. And so it's very much a story of her setting out to discover who she is in light of all of this, but being very active and really being the hero of this story. So she will be awesome. And there's a little more kissing.
That's great for all you romance fans.
Even boys can like kissing.
So, what's your favorite book?
What's my favorite book, like, ever? That's really, really, really hard to say. I'm going to go with Harry Potter. Flat out, love Harry Potter. I could read Harry Potter over and over and over and over. There's lots of ones I love, but that's probably the one. Followed by The Great Gatsby. Riddle me that.
You were an English teacher. Do you have any terrible or funny student stories?
Terrible or funny student stories? This is a terrible story about, like, the effect a teacher can have on their students. And that is at my first year of teaching. One day I was teaching 9th grade English, I was teaching freshmen, and they were horrible, like the whole day. And this one class made me cry. And I was like, I cried and I stormed out to the library. And apparently this happens every first year, like every teacher winds up in the library crying and someone has to go into their classroom. So they're like calming me down, it's okay. And the next day, all of my students brought me cards and gift cards and flowers. Like, please don't hate us anymore. We're so sorry. And I was like, oh God, I didn't mean to shame you into giving me things. But hey, thanks. I will go to Applebee's.
I understand that you were in a little bit of a financial crisis before you wrote Crewel. What advice do you have to writers who are in a similar situation?
We were in a financial crisis to, like, catch us all up really quickly. My husband had lost his job right at the kind of start of the unemployment downfall, and we didn't realize how bad the situation was going to be, and our credit got out of control really fast, and we ended up declaring bankruptcy a couple of months before I got my book deal. And so it was a real low point for us because here we are, two college graduates thinking we did everything right, and yet we're sitting in a bankruptcy court. And I was writing Crewel at that point, and it sounds really cliche, but it saved me. Like, it gave me something to focus on that was mine. And I think a lot of people don't write because there's not money in it, or it can't be a real career. And I was at a situation where I was like, well, I can't get a real job right now because no one's hiring, and I don't have any money anyway, so why not just do it? So I think you have to get to that point as a writer of, I'm doing this for me. Like, it doesn't matter about the money, it doesn't matter about the career. Like, this is about the creative endeavor and the dividends that you get back from sitting down and actually writing, and the creative process, and how that has such a positive influence on your life. So just doing it, regardless of all that other noise in the background, like, that's the most important thing a writer can do.
Do that.
Do that. Do it.
Hi, we're here with Lani Alpert, Grammy Award-winning singer and author of emotional memoirs and short stories. How you doing?
Hi, Michael. Good to see you.
Thank you. Now tell us about your book.
Well, it's a collection of short stories, 10 short stories. 7 are fiction, 3 are nonfiction, and there's a personal narrative that runs through the whole book that ties all the stories together.
Now tell us about your book.
Well, my book, it's about my experience while I was in the Vietnam War, okay, and how I became a sniper, and some of the covert operations that I was involved in, and I was with the 2nd and 16th Rangers.
So now there's a lot of kids playing games like Call of Duty and other violent games that really kind of glorify war. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think that they should soften it or make it lighter in some kind of way, because when you get used to taking a life, which when I got out of the service, I swore to myself that I would not pick up another gun and I would not take another life, you see. But when you get used to those kind of games and just shooting at random and killing people, then I think it becomes a habit, and they become really eased with that. And I don't think it's a good situation for our world today.
I'm Emily Hermosillo. I wrote this book. I'm 17 years old. I got published when I was 15.
So, do you have any advice you would like to give to teenagers who are also looking to write?
Yes. Most important thing is don't get discouraged. Don't think no one's gonna read this or no one's gonna like it, because no matter what genre, no matter what type of book it is, someone will like it and someone will read it.
Hi, my name is Barbara Miller, and I am the author of the Lily Lemon Blossom children's picture book series. She kind of lives in this world of make-believe and pretend. She has her two very best friends are her teddy bear and her bunny rabbit, and she's just really fun-loving and spontaneous little girl.
What made you want to make the friendship show?
So I wanted to make the friendship show to help a generation of young kids learn how to be good friends, how to know how to resolve conflict, how to understand ideas like empathy and kindness. And I thought a show, our Ruby Studio show, would be really helpful for them.
If you can go back in time and tell your teen self one piece of advice, what would it be?
If I could go back in time in a super duper cool time machine and teach myself one thing, it would probably be that if I try my best at something, that's always gonna be enough.
Hi, we're here with David Kirk. So you wrote these Mrs. Spire books. What made you write them?
I wanted to write books about spiders because I had a little daughter, Violet, who was always really kind to bugs and really interested in bugs. And she would go out and find a little caterpillar or a little beetle, and she could carry it around with her for hours on end and not hurt it. She was always very gentle with them. So when I got the chance to write a book, I decided I'd write my first book about a very kind spider.
So you wrote a bunny book. What made you switch from spiders to bunnies?
I'd been doing spiders for a long time, and I was ready to try something new. And I have new daughters who were interested in different things, and I've been catching a lot of bunnies in my yard. Also, that book was the bunny book is about dreaming, and I was very interested in dreaming, and so were my daughters. My two little ones are just, one daughter has a lot of nightmares, and the other daughter has a lot of just peculiar, interesting dreams that she's always eager to tell us about in the morning. So I thought it would be fun to do a book about a bunny that dreamed.
Is anybody in your books based on people you know?
Yes. In Miss Spider, Ike and May, the two beetles, the lady beetle who's always frightened of everything is my mother, and the one who she works up and gets frightened because of her fear is my dad. Other than that, I don't think I've based anything on anybody I know, but Ike and May are my mom and dad.
What do you have coming up next?
My next book, and I just got the drawings approved, and I have to figure out how to paint it so very fast, is about a dragon who thinks he's very brave, but he's really not very brave. And you can see a picture of him in the bunny book. When the bunny's dreaming about being as big as a dragon, that's the dragon that the next book is about.
So your book, The Entertainer, is about your father, Lyle Talbot. Could you tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, he was an actor who was born in 1902 and just had a career that spanned the entertainment industry for a lot of the 20th century. Started off in kind of touring shows as a hypnotist assistant, having rocks broken on his chest. That was his role. And in touring theater companies, in tents that would set up in these little towns in the Midwest in the middle of Tornado Alley. And then ended up in Hollywood in the early 30s and was a founder of the Screen Actors Guild, kind of a leading man with Warner Brothers. Yeah, Warner Brothers pictures in the 30s, and then had a period of acting, kind of a rough period for him of acting in a lot of B movies, really B movies like Ed Wood movies. Have you heard of Ed Wood?
Which I thoroughly enjoy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch. They're just spectacularly bad, but funny.
So tell us about your experiences writing for The New Yorker.
I love writing for The New Yorker because it is a magazine that gives you a lot of time to work on pieces. They run stories very long, often, and there's just a lot of care that goes into the editing, the copy editing, the fact checking. So you really feel when you filed a story and it's going in the magazine, you sleep well at night because you feel that everything's been done to make it as solid as it can be. And it's got a great history, and of course, a lot of people love the cartoons and the New Yorker, so I find that that's a nice calling card when you're introducing yourself as a reporter from the New Yorker. A lot of people ask me how they can win the captions contest, and that I don't know.
Now, what misconceptions might people have about journalists in the industry?
Well, I think that the industry is changing a lot, and a lot more people now think of themselves as journalists in a way, right? I mean, look at what you're doing here. There's a way where you can get into the industry at an early age, as you are. I mean, you're kind of remarkable, but still. But I mean, with blogging, with video equipment that's easier to work with and easier to edit online and everything. I think we're all journalists now, or we could all be journalists now. The question is, there is training involved, and it is important to keep up some of the standards of traditional journalism. Or one thing I worry about sometimes is just, all of our attention spans are getting shorter and shorter, and pieces are getting shorter and shorter, and sometimes you do lose something with that. You lose the arc of a long story well told, or certain kinds of in-depth reporting. So I appreciate that at least, in the print version of The New Yorker, they still run stories at a pretty good length.
So now for people who aren't from LA, what is the LA Galaxy?
Well, the LA Galaxy is the professional soccer team here in Los Angeles. We are playing in the MLS, Major League Soccer. Major League Soccer is our premier league here in the United States, and we're actually 4-time defending MLS champions. So we're doing a great job right now. We're just trying to hype up the crowd because we have a great season coming up.
So what else brings you out here today?
Well, actually, we're here to also show kids how to play soccer, since that's what we're promoting. And speaking of that, do you know how to play soccer?
Sure, yeah.
Yo, here we go.
All right.
That's what I'm talking about. LA Galaxy, street team.
I'm David Kirk, and you're watching Teens Want to Know.
Hey, this is Gennifer Albin, and you're watching Teens Want to Know.
Hey, teens want to know. This is Cassandra, Clare. Keep reading.